Thank you, Chair. And as the Chair explained, I will be dealing separately with the emergency motion. I accept motions 76, 77, 78 and 79, and I've already spoken about the rollout and development of the rural economic development zones. In respect of a call for a moratorium on the closure of all rural schools, post offices, community centres, Garda stations, etc., and I think at this point in time it's worth noting that this government have 300 new Garda recruits in Templemore, so that we are certainly playing and committed again to rural Ireland. I've absolutely no difficulty at all with a moratorium on this. Indeed, at this particular moment in time, I'm drafting a memo to Cabinet that while the recommendations of the CEDRA report are on the table, that there are no more closures in rural Ireland of post offices, of schools, of Garda stations, and there are no diminution of services in rural Ireland, so it's watch this space. I would also like to commend Minister Jan O'Sullivan improving on the retention figure for small rural schools, the announcement that she made 2 weeks ago. This change will take effect from next September. For example, a school being able to retain its third teacher if 53 pupils are enrolled. At present, that figure is 56. Isolated one-teacher schools, which are more than 8 kilometres from the nearest school, will also see an enhanced retention rate for a second teacher, a commendable decision by the Minister for Education. In this way, she has signalled her support to me as the Minister for Rural Affairs and to rural Ireland itself. And it's decisions like this that make me feel proud of the Labour Party. Because I keep reiterating, once jobs are retained in rural areas, the rest will take care of itself. I also spoke this weekend about our post office network, and I will reiterate the initial point that I made. More post offices were closed under the Fianna Fáil administration. In point of fact, between 2003 and 2011, over 1,100 post offices were closed. And it's worth remembering that this was in the height of the boom as well. This is the party, Fianna Fáil are the party, who think that they have the monopoly on concern for rural Ireland. And indeed, since getting this job, I now notice that almost on a daily basis in the Dáil, we have discussions on rural Ireland and rural affairs. Those are discussions I didn't hear happening in the House up to now. Delegates, all I have to say about Fianna Fáil is with friends like that, who needs enemies? Also under this government, and in conjunction with my colleague, as I mentioned before, Minister Alex White, Minister for Communications, we recently launched the Post Office Network Business Development Group at Rantangan Post Office. This group was established after a review by the Cabinet Committee on Social Policy to explore the potential commercial opportunities available to the post office network. The group will engage with a variety of stakeholders, including those in the public sector, commercial bodies, post office customers and other interested parties. I sit on that working group myself as the representative from rural Ireland, because I know how important the post office network is to rural communities. I know that indeed it does a service that is not always measured in an economic service, that is chaired by the independent chair, Bobby Kerr, will report to government before the summer. So that is another area that we are taking care of.
1 minute on.
Thank you very much, Chair. In respect of motion 80, I support the motion. A scheme from Ballyvourney to Macroom, including Macroom Bypass, was approved by An Bord Pleanála in 2011. 5 million has been allocated by the NRA for land acquisition related to the scheme in 2015. I do not have direct responsibility for the NRA, but I have no hesitation bringing this to the attention of the relevant minister. On motion 81 about the salmon farms, I am making a recommendation that we refer this motion back, but I will be guided by conference. So we have to make a decision. I am making the recommendation. We refer it back for much more detailed discussion, but I will accept the decision of the delegates. And I think that's it, Chair. And I will deal with the Aer Lingus one. So, okay. I suppose it's just, I suppose, you know, the way we all sometimes get rushed into, you know, making decisions. And if I learned anything in political life, it's to always take your time, look for the relevant information, weigh it up, and then make your decision. But one thing I've realised is that no matter what decisions are made, the sun still rises in the morning and the tide will still come in and out. I have to say that we have listened in detail to the debate about Aer Lingus, and I think you know, it is worth reiterating to the delegates the reasons, the serious concerns from 1 to 4 that are on this motion. The serious concern that present bids fails to reflect the true value of Aer Lingus, and therefore an independent valuation of the assets of the company is required. In particular, a valuation of the 23 Heathrow slots. Number 2, the need for a firm commitment in the form of registered employment agreements precluding the outsourcing of jobs and or compulsory redundancies to protect Aer Lingus workers' employment and condition of employment. Number 3, meaningful, reliable, long-term guarantees around connectivity and the Heathrow slots. Number 4, the need to articulate a plan which would promote Shannon and Cork airports, taking into account their distinct business models and impact on their individual regions. And I think our Deputy McNamara has explained that, you know, how important that regional balance development is. Okay. And I, as Minister for Rural Affairs, are certainly cognisant of that. So with that, all I have to say to you about the Aer Lingus thing is that I commend the motion and the TDs that signed it, so I am certainly accepting this motion.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you. We'll move to a vote now.